We've cued the music, and you know what that means. It's time for the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff with Louie Herron.
At the end of the day, what's most important is to find the car you want that meets the expectations that you need for you and your family.
And Randy Beasley.
Of course, the weekend, you got folks maybe thinking it's going to be some nice weather to get outside and peruse the car lots.
And now here they are, Louie and Randy.
Yes, we are here. Hey, just wander on in anytime, buddy. Okay,
Hey,
just
a little late. I mean,
you're a busy man.
Well, I try to stay busy. I mean, you drop the kids off at school and race on over, my friend. I'm here.
Glad to have you. You're here. You're safe. You're vertical. You're ventilating, so you're ready to go, right? Okay.
I'm ready to roll, man.
All right. It's the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff. Louie in studio today, and we'll be talking about several things, including a special weekend at Louie's Lake Lot.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk about that, but football, the Todd Gurley watch is just about over. I think we should hear something from the NCAA today. And
so what's your hunch? What's the final verdict going to be?
My insiders say that he will play in Jacksonville. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll probably find out today. That's what they when they turned in their report, that's what they asked for, and everybody thinks that they've been in step with the NCAA, and they'll find out.
Well, you got to be proud of Mark
today.
Richt, the way the decisions he made and the way he handled himself, especially going into the 2-game stretch they had in front of them. It could have been very easy to say, well, let's just let them do what they do, and we'll let you.
Well, you drop one of those 2 games, and it's a different, whole different thing. Todd Gurley looks a little more like a bad guy, and then you have some people questioning. So it's the fact that you go and win them, then you can look a lot better.
You definitely can. So you want to talk about the Falcons for a minute? I mean,
the Falcons are in jolly old England, and they'll be kicking off at 9:30 our time tomorrow morning against Detroit. Should be another loss for the Falcons.
You think so?
Yes. Atlanta lost another offensive lineman. I just hope Matt Ryan survives. I don't know what they're going to do. They got a third-string SEC lineman who I'm not even sure was drafted that'll be starting in London tomorrow.
That's crazy.
That's how bad it's gotten.
But, it's the second year in a row they've dropped linemen and linebackers. 2 years in a row.
Unreal. Yeah.
So, well, you're quiet about my Dolphins. I mean, we had a nice win in Chicago. I mean, you didn't. I mean,
another Jay Cutler meltdown. Is that what I heard?
I don't know that it was Jay Cutler. I think the Miami defense.
The Dolphins just got it done. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, listen, we'd be sitting at 4-2 right now if we wouldn't have lost to Aaron Rodgers with 3 seconds left.
And if a frog had wings, yes. Okay.
I know. Anyways, the Dolphins got a good little. We played Jacksonville today on Sunday rather, so hopefully we don't lay an egg and lose in Jacksonville. That's typically Miami Dolphin football.
We'll mention a couple of other things. Georgia Military is on the road to play Arkansas Baptist. Scott McLeod is already headed out that way. That'll be tomorrow at 1:30 on Country 102. Georgia Tech, they've lost 2 straight there at Pittsburgh. High school football tonight. Our game of the week, GMC Prep hosting Lincoln County, 7:15 tonight right here on Country 102. Also tonight, Baldwin on the road to play Perry. And John Millage will try to bounce back. They'll be at Augusta Prep.
How did John Millage in Westfield?
Westfield showed that they're the real deal. It was a big win for Westfield last week.
It was bad?
First loss for John Millage this year. It was pretty one-sided. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a shame to hear. I thought, well, look, when it's all said and done, I mean, you play the game and you still have playoffs and so
a lot of season left. Yeah,
a lot of season left. JT's a great coach. Those guys will be ready to go when they get to the playoff time, I'm sure.
All right. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I guess we'll go to a break because you're flashing at me with the time here.
Yeah, we've
been on here.
Yes.
I know.
Yes,
we're getting to the break. I think we're going to cover just a couple of odds and ends, some things that have come up during the course of the week. I also want to get into some advertising things that happen. That happens with advertising and related to the sale that we have going on. We just mailed out 25,000 pieces of mail, and I want to tell everyone what's on it, and I want to tell them why I put what's on there versus what typically would go on mail. Not that it's right or wrong, good or bad. I want to explain the differences and also just let them understand what we've got going on in conjunction with all of it.
All right, it is the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff on Country 102 WKZR. 46 degrees at 8:33. Back with Louie after Luke Bryan. This is Country 102, 47 degrees now, 8:37. It's Louie in studio with us today, the Louie Herron weekend kickoff, and it's a big weekend at the Lake Lawn.
It is huge. One of the things I was going to talk about, we talked about a few weeks back about when dealerships, car lots send out advertising. One of the things we did this weekend is the 23rd through the 26th through Sunday. We've got a sale, a first pre-auction sale, and so basically all that means is all of our inventory. There's a selected amount of cars, Randy, that their next step is the auction. So what happens is if we've got negative equity on these cars, like I know we do, we've had these cars for 30 or 45 days. Good cars, clean cars. Under warranty cars, most of them have brand new tires. Most of them have had windshields replaced and nicks and bumps and bruises fixed. They're nice cars, but unfortunately, you can stock inventory that's not necessarily what the market will bear. Some customers want to buy trucks. You may have a bunch of sedans. Some may want domestic product, Dodge and Chevy, but some people may want the Honda and Toyota products. So you got to have a mix. So for various reasons, every car lot has this issue where these cars age at a certain point. For the consumer, if you got one of these mail pieces, I'm telling you, it's worth your time to come out there. We've got hamburgers out there. We've got the big tents up. We've got lenders that'll be there that'll help us approve deals if anyone's got any kind of credit issues. You can start online first at Louie's Lake Lot. But the thing is what I was going to allude to, when you get this mail, a lot of times, a lot of dealers will put the scratch off, the key giveaway, the stuff that I don't know how you want to put it. And I've done those years ago. I have done those. I have found out that two things happen. Number one, when you do that, you get the gift grabbers. You don't really get consumers that are really looking for a car, number one. So you weed through a whole bunch of people, and people end up getting upset. Secondly, the prizes that are given, there are TVs and computers and all that stuff, but the reality is it's like 1 in 400,000 get it, and the majority of people from the insurance promotion that's paid for, you end up getting like a brochure of a travel vacation that you've got to call in a number, that you've got to pay a deposit, but you do get reimbursed. It's not a trick. It's just that's what you get,
right?
Because obviously
it's a process.
It's an insured promotion,
yeah.
And anytime you see an insured promotion, free car giveaway, scratch off lottery, it's an insured promotion, which means the odds, okay, there is a winner out there, believe it or not. You can't have that and not have it. There is a winner for a car or but the reality is that of all the pieces you send out, one person has that out of 25 or 45 or 50,000 pieces, and most people get it and go,
chunk it. Yeah.
Chuck it.
Gotcha.
So on our mail piece that I sent out, it doesn't have anything about that. We do have a registration for a Home Depot card, TVs that we will give away. Okay, so it's not, they're in the showroom, they're there, they will be given to somebody. So we've got some incentives, but I wanted to just kind of share the difference of what we've got going on and what you may have received in the past. Not that one is good or bad, one is right or wrong. I just want you to know that we've got a lot of good things going on.
The big thing to know is that this is a big weekend at Louie's Lake Lot, and you've got some vehicles that need to go. If not, they're going to go to auction, so now's the time to get mine.
Well, and one last thing, in addition, and we'll talk about this when we come back from the break, yes, I've got to liquidate a lot of these cars, and I hope I sell 45 cars. But what I want just as desperately to do that, if I sell 45 and I only have 60 out there, I got 15 cars left. So if you've got a trade-in that you've been fighting with someone to get a little extra money for, you want to buy a car but you're not getting enough for your trade, I'm going to need that inventory. And if I pay a little too much for your trade, the clock starts over. I've got 60 days to get rid of this thing. So think about that. And again, this weekend's a huge weekend if you're in the market for a car.
Louie Herron weekend kickoff. Back with Louie in just a moment.
Your vehicle is your only transportation, so give it the attention it deserves with the help of Express Wash and Lube. Ask Jason Burrell about the Tuesday special.
Sunshine and whiskey.
There's Frankie Ballard on Country 102 WKZR. It's 8:46, 14 before 9. That is our Bobby Brown Insurance Agency time, and 48 degrees. It's Louie's kickoff for the weekend, the Louie Herron weekend kickoff. Louie in studio today, and it's a big weekend at Louie's Lake Lot. We've been talking about that. Also, mentioned a little bit about trade-ins. I know this is something that is a big deal for a lot of people. They say, well, I'm really thinking about getting another vehicle, but I just don't know if I'm getting the best offer for my car. I think maybe this thing's in good shape. I think I think I'm getting lowballed.
Well, and I will tell you that when you look at the trade-in factor, that is the most sensitive part of the deal. A lot of people think interest rate and payment. The reality is people are emotionally connected to their trade, and when someone's got a trade-in that they've driven for the last 2 to 3 to 4 years, and it's given them no fits, no problems, no issues, nice car. They just replaced it and put brand new tires on the car. Just did a major service at 60,000 miles 8 months ago. In their mind, the car has as much value as it possibly can, and it should. And then they go online and do some research to find out that their car is selling for $15,000, and then they go to the dealership and they're offered $9,000.
Right.
And that's enough to send anybody through the roof. The thing to recognize and understand is, and we've gone over this before, but I want to make sure everyone understands that when you trade a car, regardless of what trade-in allowance they show you, in other words, whatever's on the paper, it's irrelevant. The dealership will always appraise a car at wholesale value.
Mm-hmm.
They may appraise it for a little more than wholesale value, but they're still at wholesale value. The reason, obviously, is when they take a car in on trade, and we've discussed this, even like this first pre-auction sale. The reason why it's a pre-auction sale is because we know these cars are going to the auction. And they're going to the auction because they've been in inventory long enough to where I have negative equity. So here's what a dealer thinks. You got a $10,000 car. We know that the book value is $10,000. We know that the auction's saying the car is bringing between $10,300 and $10,500. So we got a little leeway. We know that if we pay $10,300, $10,500, $10,000 for the car, we've got to pay $200 in transportation to get it here. We do a post-sale inspection at the auction to make sure it's mechanically safe and sound to protect us so we don't get stuck with a bad car. That's another $200. Then we pay the auction a buy fee or a sale fee of a percentage of the car, which is anywhere from $200 to $400. So when we buy a car for $10,000, we're in the car for $10,800. Okay,
right.
So the car's worth $10,000, $10,200. Well, we own it for $10,800. We bring it to the lot. Now we serviced it for $500 or $600. Now we're in the car for $11,200. We bought the car for $10,200. Now we own it for $11,200. If I had to sell it tomorrow, it's worth $10,200, $10,400. But I've got $11,200 in the vehicle. Mm-hmm. I've already lost $600, $700, and the car's 24 hours old. You with me?
Gotcha.
Okay, so now what happens is the car sits on a lot for 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. Now the book drops. The car was worth 60 days ago $10,200, $10,400. Now the car's worth $8,800 and $9,200. So you have a $9,000 car that now we have $11,200 in because we've serviced it, we've cleaned it, we've transported it here, we've fixed a dent, a ding, a scratch. So now we're stuck with $1,500 negative equity. Now back to the trade-in. How does that apply to you? When a dealer looks at your car and you can sell it for $15,000, on Auto Trader, those are what the prices are going for. Everyone knows that if I'm asking $15,000, I'm not paying you $15,000. As soon as I call you, hey, I see your car on Auto Trader, would you take $12,500 for it? And then you hash somewhere in between, you take $13,000. The bottom line is the gap between $10,000 and $13,000. We know you're going to have $11,000 in the car after you clean it and fix it and service it. So the dealer obviously wants to make $1,500, $1,300, $1,200, $2,000 on an investment of $10,000 or $12,000 after he's serviced the car, and out of that comes the commission. Out of that comes the advertising to promote the vehicle. So it's just the basic supply and demand of the cost of the vehicle. And when you're looking to trade your vehicle, I do think it's important to do the research. Check out what AutoTraderCars.com is. But again, understand that regardless of the allowance they show you on paper, mm-hmm. they're going to appraise it. They may show you $13,000, but they're putting $10,000 in that car.
Okay, and when we come back, I have one other question to ask you about trade-in. It has to deal with, people. Some people say, "Well, I'll just sell it myself." And talking about how that might not be your best move, because I know a couple of things I want to ask you about that. All right.
All right, sounds good.
All right, it's the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff on Country 102 WKZR 8:51. Here's Rascal Flatts. Country 102 WKZR. It's now 8:54. Louie Herron in studio with us today for the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff. And I want to ask you another question about trade-ins. This is something that comes up. A lot of people say, well, they're going to offer me wholesale price, and but maybe I can do a little bit better than that once we talk. But why don't I just sell it for myself? I think I can get close to the full retail or whatever. Something that if you've ever gone through this, you'll know. okay, you got to meet somebody. You got to let them drive your car and wonder if that's going to be okay. You got to get it cleaned up and get it looking just right yourself. You're going to end up spending money and time and effort, and it might not just be worth it in a lot of cases.
Well, the other thing too is you got to complete the documentation for the paperwork, the power of attorneys, the MV1s, the stuff to transfer tags, plates, those kind of things to are getting out of your name. It's not the end of the world. Look, honestly, I mean, I'm somewhat of a mooch. I mean, to make a few extra bucks, I'd probably try to sell it myself. But what I would look at before you did that is how much is it worth for your time and energy. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. It takes us a 90-day period, 75-day period to sell a good used car. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's going to take you 90 days to sell your car, and I'm not going to say you got a good used one. What I'm going to tell you is that's our average industry-wide. 45 to 60 is the benchmark. It typically takes a little longer. Now, understand that we have advertising, promotion, and we have 14, 15 salespeople running around the dealership to help promote and get those cars off the lot. So remember, you got to figure out how you're going to promote your car, how are you going to advertise the car, what's that going to cost? Then what's your time worth? What's that going to cost? Then you got to figure, okay, the biggest thing about trading that makes it so nice is if you're buying a $20,000 car and you have a $15,000 trade-in, you're paying taxes on $5,000, the difference. So $5,000 at 7% is $350. 7% of 20,000 is $1,400. So you know right off the bat that you're going to have to get at least $800 to $1,000 more for your car than what the dealer was offering you, depending on what the offer was, because you're going to lose that in tax savings. So what I'm saying is if the dealer was giving you 15 and you said, no, it's worth 17, you know for a fact you definitely can't take no less than 16 because you're getting that much in taxes back. But then you also think, well, listen, I owe money on my car and I pay $373 a month. Well, if it takes you 90 days, there's another $1,300 you're going to shell out as you're selling it. Well, again, you take the $1,300, the $1,400 in taxes, you take the $60 to advertise on Craigslist, Auto Trader, you take your time and effort. That's where sometimes it makes sense for you to back up and go, okay, let me just go in there and fight a little bit harder for $500 more and get this deal over with, because most people don't have time to deal with it. But again, if it were me, if I could make a buck, I'm going to try to make $1 if I could.
All right. So in a lot of cases, though, it just makes sense, or it just for your time and your energy and your peace of mind to just make the trade and just make your best trade.
And sometimes dollars. Sometimes it's just outright money. It may be better off because you may not get the money you think.
Okay. Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff. We're going to be back one more time with Louie, but we do want to remind you again to get out and see Louie this weekend. It's a big weekend, big sale going on at Louie's Lake Lot, Lake Oconee Parkway. Up toward Lake Oconee near the Pyramid, and make sure you get out there this weekend. Country 102's WKZR Milledgeville, 48 degrees now at 8:57.
This is the Huckabee Report for Friday. I'm Mike Huckabee. Canada's been our steadfast
auto insurer is Bobby Brown Insurance, North Columbia Street, 453-9496. Good morning, 48 degrees at 9:02 at Country 102 WKZR, and we are in studio with Louie, the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff. And Louie, we are back for one final break this morning, and we've been talking about trade-ins, talking about the idea of what you need to do about a car that you're thinking about trading in, and some options that you have. And also, we've been talking a little bit about what's going on at the Lake Lot. So
absolutely, it's been a good show. We discussed a little bit about trade-in. I want to make sure that everyone's clear. When you get in the business, Randy, we have a term called ACV, actual cash value. Okay, that is a term that we use in the auto industry to identify to the employees. They are understood what the actual cash value is. What is the car really worth? A lot of times, what they'll do with markup, rebates, and incentives, they will give a trade allowance. In fact, if you look at a worksheet at a lot of dealers, it will say trade allowance. That's not ACV, actual cash value. That's the allowance of the car. So what happens is the consumer says, well, so-and-so dealership gave me 12.5. You only give me 8. You're ripping me off. You think I'm stupid. Or whatever the case. Well, all they've done is flip the top and the bottom number. So here's my point. I want everyone just to understand this. Forget the trade-in. Forget the selling price. The difference figure, the difference between the two cars is the most important number. It is basically the bottom line. So here's what I mean. You're looking at a new car at two different dealerships. One car is $20,000 and the trade-in is $15,000. The difference is $5,000. The other dealer is $18,000 and $12,000 for your trade. Now in this scenario, you're getting $3,000 less for your trade, right? But at 18 and 12, the difference is 6.
Right.
The other dealership, the difference was 5.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the other dealership has a better deal by $1,000. But don't get caught up in saying you were trying to rip me off. You were giving me $3,000 less for my trade. No, not so fast. Forget all that. Because here's the deal: I can sell you my car for $100,000, $70,000 over sticker, and I can give you $85,000 for a trade-in over allow by $60,000. The difference is still $5,000. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what I'm saying to everyone listening is
ACV bottom line.
Yeah, when you get trade-ins and you're looking at the figures, don't get confused about the sale price and they were going to sell it for this and you didn't discount it enough. I've seen many people, believe it or not, Randy, leave and they say, man, this guy was taking $1,000 off. You were taking nothing off. Yet you weren't taking anything off, but you over-allowed $3,000 for the trade, and the other dealership gave you actual cash value, and because it didn't look like you had a discount, they didn't even pay attention to the difference figure, and they were paying $1,000 more, and you couldn't even explain it to them. I mean, so anyways, something to think about and consider. The bottom line is the most important number. The difference figure, the difference between your car and their car is the real number. Forget all the top two numbers.
All right, Louie's Lake Lot, it's a big weekend. Tell us again about why folks need to get out there today or tomorrow.
Okay, here's the deal. First pre-auction sale. I would encourage everybody. Tent's out. The food is out. We've got some gifts you could register for that will be given away with no purchase necessary. You just have to register. We're doing a drawing 3 days in a row, and you could get something just for coming out. Also, we have a great selection. You can go online to louieslakelot.com before you come down. We've got lenders there on site helping us approve deals. If you've got good credit, bad credit, great credit, it doesn't matter. This is the time. Now, and I believe as we liquidate some of these cars, you're going to get great deals, and I believe that in addition, you're going to get a fantastic trade value because I'm going to need some inventory fast. If I sell 25, 30 cars over a 4 or 5 day period, and I've got 50 cars in stock, I can't replace them fast enough. If you've got a nice car and it's got decent miles, you're going to get the money for the car.
All right, sir, have a great weekend, and tell everybody to get out there this weekend and see Louie at Louie's Lake Lot, Lake Oconee Parkway near the Pyramid.
Let's do it.
All right, have a good one. Country 102's WKZR, Milledgeville, 48 degrees at 9:07.